You know, that surge in crude has meant agony for airlines. Jet fuel prices are at records, and desperate times are calling for desperate measures. Jane Wells with an inside look at the agonizing airlines. Jane.
Aaron, you know, maybe I shouldn't eat this whole thing if I want to get on board a plane. The airlines are doing everything they can think of to make planes lighter to save fuel, washing dirt out of the engines to eliminate drag, flying slower. And when's the last time you saw a phone in the back of the seat in front of you? Removing seat back phones makes some planes 200 pounds lighter, saving more than 3,400 gallons of fuel a year. Alaska Airlines hopes to save $500,000 with a lighter beverage cart and $10 grand per plane a year removing some magazines. JetBlue removes 6 seats from some planes to make them 900 pounds lighter. And my favorite, some airlines flush onboard toilets while on the ground to minimize takeoff weight. The only thing the airlines can't lighten is you.
Oh, that feels good. I'm telling you.
Sitting next to the big guy. How about them bears? Some airlines like Southwest and Alaska have long had policies that if you're too big for one seat, you need to buy another, and they'll reimburse you if there are empty seats on the plane. But weighing passengers, small planes have always mandated that, but no major airlines plan to do it in the near term. Consultant Bob Mann says those airlines have traditionally assumed you and your luggage together weigh on average 220 pounds. Given today's reality, he says, you know, you ought to be treated like any other freight.
If you look at the freight industry, for example, they sell by space and weight. If you go to the post office, you pay a price based on space and weight. They're really not charging for the product the way the costs are incurred. Look, I'm a guy that's going to end up paying more. My kids will pay less.
All right, what do flyers weighing down those airplanes already starting now to pay for their first checked bag at American? What do they think about the idea of having to get on a scale in front of everyone?
You gotta be kidding.
I wouldn't like everybody else watching me when I stood on the scale, but yeah, I understand.
Like the really skinny ones, would they get like a discount?
Considering my size, I don't think that's right. Personally speaking,
I would love it if they did that because I don't weigh very much, so I'd probably fly okay.
Now, later on Power Lunch, we talked to a travel attorney on whether airlines could even legally do this. And guys, the craziest idea that Bob Mann has heard so far was back in the 80s. Somebody suggested maybe they depressurize the planes slightly when they're in flight to lighten the air on the airplane, but it never happened. Back to you.
Okay.
What do you think, Haynes?
I think if they start weighing people, there will be endless arguments, particularly from women.
That's a fair point.
I think women are more sensitive about
It's a lack of profitability at the airlines because of those soaring fuel costs. It's really crunching their business.
Jane Wells says that they're coming up, though, with some creative ways to pinch pennies and cut those costs. Right, Jane?
They're pinching everything but you, Bill, to check for fat content. But why not? Up next, we'll talk about that, and maybe it'll be the incentive to stop eating this when Power Lunch returns.
Bill, those record fuel prices have sent the airline industry into a tailspin, many of them taking some desperate cost-cutting steps. We know American is charging you for your baggage. You won't believe, though, what might be coming next for all of us who fly. Jane Wells is at California's Burbank Airport, Bob Hope Airport to be exact, with some of the details. I'm almost afraid to ask.
Sue, what is left? You know, the plight of the airlines is only matched by our misery in flying them.
Look, I have had just about enough of you. Now take your seat.
Oh, you've had about enough of me. First you delay me, then you bump me. I can't wait to see what happens next.
That was 20 years ago, and the situation has only gotten worse. But with fuel costs doubling and many passengers who book ahead actually money losers for the carriers, with these unprofitable sales, the companies are trimming everywhere to make planes lighter. Lighter seats and dishes and beverage carts, paperless cockpits, flushing toilets while on the ground to lighten the load on takeoff. As you said, American is charging for the first bag that is checked now. What's left? You.
We're being treated as cattle. We're being treated as freight. Why not bill us as freight?
Now, no airline plans to do this yet, but airline passenger attorney Alexander Analik says that, you know, they might consider charging passengers based on the total weight of themselves and their luggage. Currently, airlines assume that combination averages 220 pounds. The problem, he says, will be privacy laws if you're forced to stand on a scale in front of everyone, and that's not all.
under the Department of Transportation regulations, they can't do deceptive pricing. If I don't know what my ticket is when I book it, they can't do that. And that's a little hard. What am I going to weigh? What are they going to program they're going to have when I finally get there? What am I wearing?
I won't fly. I would feel definitely discriminated against.
They got to do it. I'll either won't fly, they'll either get rid of me or they won't.
Now, Southwest and Alaska have had long-time policies that if you can't fit into a seat, you have to buy a second one. But that's a safety issue. You have to be able to sit down to take off. There is, however, one airline that is charging by the pound. FlyDerriere.com, the, quote, first carbon-neutral airline. Okay, actually, it's not real, but a lot of people haven't figured out this is a hoax yet. There is no Derriere airline. And soon, more on my blog, Funny Business, including a poll where you can weigh in. Back to you.
You're the best. You know that? You really are.
Aww,
You just are.
I love you too.
See you soon.